For your health, Hildebrand Law, the great taste of Miller Lite, and Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. There is a difference. Good afternoon, Nags.
Good afternoon, boys. How we doing after that big victory by your Green Bay Packers?
Fantastic.
That's
what I'm
stomping
talking about.
That was
domination, right? That was old
woodshedding.
school domination from the green and gold. You love to see it.
How nice is their grass? I noticed that watching the game.
Yeah,
It's a beautiful,
Isn't it a beautiful
shade, no
field,
doubt about it.
especially when we tear it up
Oh,
over
man.
the
Hey,
the
and not
Titans?
to mention, first time ever getting a win
That's
in
true.
Nashville for your
That's
Green
true.
Bay Packers. Ever.
It's funny because one of the things I thought going in was, okay, Malik Willis won his first start at Lambeau, the friendly confines, if you will.
Friendly confines.
Going on the road when you have to worry about crowd noise and silent count stuff, I guess you have to do that when 60% of the crowd isn't cheering for your team.
I mean, you're not lying. Packers fans traveled well to that game.
Ooh.
Holy cow. They took
Holy
over
Holy
Nashville.
cow.
I was
Weekend.
surprised listening
So-
to it on the air to hear the
Yeah.
cheers. It was almost like
Yeah.
a Cubs game at American
You could-
Family
you
Field.
could hear Go Pack
couple years
Go
ago.
ringing
Go
out.
Pack
Yeah,
Go.
that was good times. Good times.
Ridiculous. All right, so next, we just heard the coach seems to be in good spirits, playfully jousting with
Mhm.
reporters. But that was good stuff about their preparation for Malik Willis. And we said it before. The guy's smart. He's been an understudy for a while in the league, high Wonderlic score, high intelligence. But the way he's assimilated and what he's allowed them to do and the way he's performed, even as something as basic as what came up at the end of our little stint with Matt Lefleur's presser about not having confusion, delay of games, having to take timeouts. It's been something.
I mean, it's been so impressive. And Matt did allude to it after the game yesterday, as far as impressive as we, as the public on the outside looking in, as impressive as we think it is, it's exponentially more so. All of the minutia that he is dealing with running the offense. You heard Lefleur did mention a little bit of just simple things that you kind of don't think about when you're watching the game. You watch guys go in motion, but the snap of the football, timing that up and getting not only just the play calls, but getting the protection set, getting things done pre-snap, before the snap of the ball, and then timing that up with the motions, which they haven't dialed back in any meaningful way that you can really tell. In fact, against the Colts especially, they dialed up more motion. And this is a team that already used it a lot. So, yeah, I think, and then you look at the way he performed from one week to the next, actually improving, I think, regarding not just, okay, we kind of hid him away against the Colts. Against the Titans, it was very clear they were going to let him throw downfield. Matt mentioned he made the plays that were being asked to be made in practice. That gave him confidence to call some of those plays in the game. And I thought, I can't remember who asked the question, but the point that, okay, it's 3rd and 18 at one point in that game yesterday, and they tell Malik, okay, go get it. That's not normal backup QB behavior. Usually it's, okay, it's 3rd and 18. We're going to run a screen or we're going to run a draw, and then we're going to punt. Matt Lefleur was unafraid yesterday, clearly showing the trust he has in a guy who hasn't been in the building a month. It's impressive from all parties.
He hasn't been there very often, or he hasn't been there a lot. So this thought crossed my mind. Are we finally seeing Matt LaFleur's offense run as Matt LaFleur's offense instead of through the lens of someone who thinks they can call plays better? No, I'm dead serious.
Somewhat. You're not wrong. I mean, look at all the stuff that's enabled them to be successful these last 2 years, as far as condensed formations. We were just talking about lots of motion, all the things that the former quarterback really didn't like on the offensive side of the ball. And that's not to say you can't be successful that way. I think anybody watched the Jets the other night, the way Aaron just ripped it up and down the field against the Patriots.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's clear there's still a place for that type of offense in the league. But yeah, I do think this is way closer to the vision Matt LaFleur had when, he was handed the keys to the Packers and said, okay, go create your offense. I think this is a lot closer to the style he wanted to play.
Aaron Nagler, Cheesehead TV, joining the party here, Drew and KB, on this Monday in the Goodland, Victory Monday, if you will. Is this one of the things that hasn't really been addressed? I don't think. And I would have asked the question if I was sitting in the room and not in the studio. They went from 53 rushing attempts to 37, and that includes 6 by Malik Willis. But a chunk of time where Josh Jacobs just was chilling.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, the game's safely in hand and he's on a pitch count. I was wondering if he was dinged. And then it's like, well, they ran him a lot last week and they're saving him for the Vikings. What was your read on that? Just the game dictated that we're going to give him a little break because he a heavy workload?
I think it was a little bit of the game flow, definitely. I think Wilson was very successful when he was in there. What did he have? Like 4.2 yards per carry on average. I mean, 12 carries for 50 yards. That's a good day of work. And then Wilson also contributing in the passing game. I think they finally reached a point with Emmanuel Wilson where they can trust him as a pass protector, so they don't have to take him off the field. You saw Josh Jacobs step in there a couple of times with some really nice pass blocks. It's still not the strong part of Wilson's game, but at least now, like I said, they're at least trusting him to keep him on the field in passing situations on, consecutive plays where, okay, it's a third down. We'd probably usually take him off, but they've kept him out there. They kept him out there yesterday. And I think it paid dividends. I think you saw a guy who got in a groove. Certainly loved what he showed on that touchdown on the screen. I just think they've reached a point where they know they can trust him in all facets of the offense. And to your point, yeah, you've got a big divisional game coming up. You had the game in hand. You're well in control by the late third, early fourth quarter of that game yesterday. There's no need to keep running Josh Jacobs into a wall, especially against a team that knows you're probably trying to run the ball, trying to run the clock, etc. Yeah, let Wilson get some play and get some chance to develop. And I think that's what you saw really come to the fore for Emmanuel Wilson yesterday.
So is this the dynamic running game you've seen out of the Packers in a while? When's the last time?
You ain't lying. And all aspects.
I mean, they all,
you know what I mean?
They crack them off 8 yards at a time and then 15. And then you add in Malik Willis.
I was just going to say, you have to include the quarterback in that, right?
Right. He racked up, 60-some yards rushing?
73 yards and a touchdown in that opening drive on 6 attempts. Now, many of those were designed runs, but a few were scrambles, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just making something happen when things weren't there. I mean, look, the running game has been insanely impressive these last 2 weeks. There's no question about it. I'd probably go back to the second half of the Eagles game in week 1. They were pretty damn impressive and productive in that game as well. I think what's exciting, if you're a Packers fan, is looking at the work they've done on the ground. This first 3-week stretch here is exponentially better than what we saw coming out of the gate last season. You remember how hard it was to run the football that first month plus in 2023. Well, here they are. They've lost their quarterback. The entire stadium knows they want to run the ball, and they're still running the ball really effectively. You add Jordan Love back into that mix, oh, baby, the play action, the ability to keep your defense guessing. I'm so excited with kind of the possibilities here once Jordan Love is back under center.
I don't want to slight the 5 big fellas up front, Nags, but Tucker Kraft is getting his bouquets, deservedly so, for his work in the run game. He's been a road grader. He is fun to watch. He pancaked a DB
throwing guys out the club.
It's unbelievable.
Right. Love to see it.
The law firm of Watson, Melton, Reed, etc. Those receivers are getting after it. It's like that is such a key. It's like it's jaw dropping.
I was just talking with Andy Herman about this on our weekly Let's Talk Football chat. And it's the all-11 mentality that you hear from Lefleur all the time. And it can be dangerously, by rote almost. But, everyone's got to do their 111th, etc. But, man, these guys really buy into it. And you see it repeatedly on plenty of the runs yesterday where they got out on the perimeter. And you just saw, old-school Lombardi-style alleys for guys to run through.
There
were legit at least 4 or 5 plays where a guy had what looked like a hallway to run down. Just absolute pristine work from the wide receiver group, because that's how gains that will start as 2, 3, maybe 4 yards, they bust open into 20-yard gains because of the work by the wide receiving group.
Jaden Reed's got a little nasty in him, doesn't he?
Yes, he does. You love to
for a
see
little
it.
man.
Love to see it. He doesn't take no guff. I love it,
man. We are chatting with Aaron Nagler of Cheesehead TV. All right, on the other side of the ball, the takeaways are flowing. The sack started to flow yesterday, but the big thing to me is you're up 27-14. And you got like 10 minutes left, and you're still getting after it rather than just playing an Ashwaubenon and letting guys, complete everything in front of us. Just keep it in front of us. Let's just to keep the hammer down and to keep the pressure on, it was enjoyable to watch that savagery.
Well, it's just refreshing to see a defensive coordinator who wants to dictate to the opponent rather than let it all happen to him, and especially against a young, struggling quarterback. If that's Joe Barry as defensive coordinator yesterday, you can bet Will Levis goes for 300 yards and a couple touchdowns. I mean, it's just how many times do we see him kind of make young, inexperienced quarterbacks look or have the best day of their career? Bryce Young, Tommy DeVito, the list goes on.
Oh, God,
yesterday, Levis had no opportunity to breathe. Once they got down by 2 scores, it was a wrap, and he never let up. That's what was so fun to watch.
Last year was like it was garbage time, and they were playing garbage time defense in the first half.
In the first quarter, yeah.
Quarter. Like, what are we doing?
Drove me nuts. Well, the picture is just so easy. That was what was so frustrating. I think you saw it repeatedly in the second half yesterday, where Levis is going back, and here's where it all works in concert, right? We can talk about the pressure. There certainly was a lot of it on display, but there are a number of cases or a number of snaps in that game where Levis is back there. He hits the top of his drop, and he's got time initially. There's just no one open downfield, or the picture is bad. It's not what he expected. And now the defensive front is working through that protection and getting home to the quarterback. That's why I always talk about pressure being what you want to look at. I don't care about sacks. Sacks will come. If you are pressuring the quarterback, if you are affecting the pocket, affecting the quarterback, you'll see what's happened these first 3 weeks. What do they have? 7 interceptions? What do they have? Six interceptions? They had 7 all of last year. A lot of this is happening because the quarterback is being affected. The sacks, that number will grow. They will come. The pressure is there. That's affecting the quarterback. That's what's most important.
It was weird because I was saying that going into this game that usually sacks cause interceptions, but the Packers were getting interceptions without sacks. But to your point,
they're affecting the pocket.
The pressure is, and especially they were worried about Jalen Hurts and Anthony Richardson getting out of the pocket and doing damage. But they didn't have to worry about that with Levis, so they were a little bit more unrestrained.
A perfect example of this, look at Lucas Van Ness's sack yesterday. That sack happens because of pressure by Rashawn Gary. Gary is there first, makes the quarterback step out of it, and there's LVN welcoming his first sack. You know, it's like that's the whole point. Affect the quarterback, good things will happen.
That's it. Hey, Nags, you're probably getting it already, and we always say on the Drew and KB program, the national pastime is bitching and moaning, and people who want to get upset about something, Aaron Jones
find something.
In the euphoria of the Vikings' 3rd straight victory, when he told, I don't even remember who it was, Tom Pelissero or something, this is probably some of the most fun I've had in my career. People are saying that's a bleep.
Wasn't fun at Green Bay.
Oh, what about the 7 years of Green Bay, man? Dude, he's having fun. He's in a new place.
He's having a good time. He's having a ball. He's the new kid at school. Yeah, let him have his fun. We'll beat him up when he comes to Lambeau. It'll be fine. It's not a shot. That wasn't in any
way a shot at Green Bay. And anybody who takes that way is looking to be offended.
And he's pandering a little bit to the fan base of the Vikings. I love you guys.
Exactly. That's
nothing wrong with that.
That's the Zadarius Smith playbook. Like every year, remember, like every time he went to a new team, it was, this is the greatest place I've ever been. These fans really accept me. Now repeat that every new place I go. That's all it is. He's like, he knows what he's doing. And I get it. I get it. He does look like he's having fun. He's running for a ton of yards and scoring points. So, yeah, I'll bet he is having a good time. No question about it.
All right. So, Matt Lefleur just predicted that Jordan Love will be limited. We're going to do the whole dance again this week. Will he or won't he?
Yep.
We'll be waiting on Saturday to see if Sean Clifford is elevated again.
Right. Although I think there's a chance he might be elevated regardless.
Yeah, true.
It's possible.
It's possible. But then, okay, so what does your spidey sense tell you about Jordan Love? Because I had a feeling they were going to take the high side of caution and just continue to work him out. And the practices last week were the ramp up, part of the ramp up to practice in full starting tomorrow doing teams.
You would think
that was my theory of the case last week.
Yeah. So I think he'll most likely be listed as limited again. I will also be surprised if he's not a go on Sunday. Now,
so limited could mean
this
like
is the 2 weeks, right?
Limited. He's limited. So we had 50 first team snaps and he only took 45. He was therefore limited.
Limited. Well, it's possible. Although usually the Packers don't play those kind of games with their injury report. I mean, the fact that apparently the kicker stubbed his toe or something and got added to the injury report on Saturday, even though he didn't have a designation, kind of tells you how strict they are. Like, if there's a dude like hurting or dealing with anything, they're going to put it on the injury report. If he is listed as limited, I suspect that means he didn't take or hasn't participated in full. So, I mean, as long as he's out there and is participating, even if it's not in full, I have to think there's a decent chance he plays.
Got it. I gotta agree with you. I think anything else on your notebook? I mean, it was just a complete complimentary football is fun to watch. Put it
It's
that way.
been so long since we got a heaping helping of it, but we've had it for 2 weeks now. I mean, I'm loving it, and I cannot wait to unleash it on the Minnesota Vikings because, man, let me tell you, they've got their little 3-game start to the season. I'm very excited.
Sam Darnold.
Very happy for all those Vikings fans out there thinking they're going to the Super Bowl. But we know how this story ends. It don't matter how you're playing in September. It matters how you're playing in December. And the Vikings are going to peak too early like they always do. And hopefully we set the kind of seed of that demise on Sunday at Lambeau.
That will help. And then there will be a tie atop the division. And then we can all just go back to laughing at the Bears pulling away the football from their fans like Lucy does to Charlie Brown every fall.
I love that.
Are they just not the gift that keeps on giving?
They
I love
are.
the Bears. I mean, remember how Papa Bear helped keep the Packers alive back in the day? I just have to thank him eternally because it just provides us now in the modern era just no end to comedy each and every season. The way the Bears fans all offseason talk about how great they're going to be, and then every year they absolutely suck.
It's the best. Set your watch.
Without a doubt.
Nags, great run today. You're on Carry the G tomorrow with Billy, aren't you?
Can't wait. Going to be a good time. Billy and I chopping it up from, I believe, noon to 2 on your
Noon to
airwaves.
2.
Going to be a good time.
That's going to be a blast. We look forward to listening. Thanks for joining us, bud.
Thanks a lot, guys. Talk to you next week.
See you later, Nags.
He carries